Okay, so now we're going to talk about education related to the executive orders and how the executive orders are going to have an impact on our educational systems. So Executive Order 14049 is a White House initiative on advancing education, equity, excellence, and economic opportunities for Native Americans and strengthening tribal colleges and universities. Trump's Executive Order 14148 rescinded that. So we don't care about Native American education or advancing them at all. That's clear. Executive Order 14168. It's called Defending Women from Gender Ideology Extremism and Restoring Biological Truth to the Federal Government. This executive order is a book burning. It is saying that 10 different guides that were researched and reported on about how to address, identify, and deal with LGBTQ issues or harassment or what to do. Like, what are our next steps? I'm now facing this new issue that I've never been exposed to before. What do I do next? We're deleting all of the resources for that. So you can't know. You not only can't know what's going on or how to deal with it or how to support it, you won't have any resources unless you are already in the know. They're trying to strip away all of that. It doesn't matter if you're transgender, intersex, any of the letters. They don't want you to know what to do. They don't want you to understand yourself. Under Executive Order 14168, Defending Women from Gender Ideology, Extremism, and Restoring Biological Truth to the Federal Government, they are rescinding Title IX of the Educational Amendments from 1972. So in 1972, they declared that there was Title IX. Title IX is to protect people. It's to fight discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. So you are not allowed, especially in a school setting, to discriminate against somebody for their sexual orientation or gender identity. Don't be a dick. Like that's really all it is. You're not allowed to discriminate against these people. Well, we rescinded that. So now you are. No protections. Executive Order 14187, Protecting Children from Chemical and Surgical Mutilation. I love how they label this stuff. Like they intentionally label it in a way where you're like, oh my God, I don't agree with mutilation. That's not what it is. It's gender affirming care. So they are removing, under Section 3, removing science and guidance from the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, also known as WPATH. We are removing science and guidance from WPATH because they want you to have no resources. Ending radical indoctrination in K through 12 schooling. And again, that's another one. I don't want my kids to be indoctrinated or radicalized. Well, let's see what that means. Eliminating federal funding. So if you don't do this, we cut your funding. If you support or embrace diversity, equity, or gender ideology. Funding, meaning curriculum, instruction, programs, activities, teacher education, certification, licensing, employment, or training. They will cut your funding if you embrace diversity or, as they call, gender ideology. So if you acknowledge that transgender people exist, your school's funding will get cut, I guess. Section 2, each agency's process to prevent or rescind federal funds to maximum extent consistent with applicable law from being used by school or promotion of gender ideology or discriminatory equity ideology. Let's slow that down. That's a lot of big words, right? Each agency's process to prevent or rescind funds to the maximum extent. They are talking about to the maximum extent taking funding back, rescinding funds from schools, from schools, from schools, from schools. In K through 12 curriculum, instruction, programs, activities, teacher certification, licensing, employment, and training. They not only want to cut funding, they want to rescind funding. Section C, the Attorney General shall coordinate with the State Attorney General and local district attorneys in their efforts to enforce the law and file appropriate actions. Enforce the law and file appropriate, what's appropriate? I don't fucking know, it doesn't say. Appropriate actions against K through 12 teachers and school officials who violate the law. What is the law? Gender ideology and social transition. Do you know what that means? If there's somebody in your classroom who presents as he or she, and that's how they're presenting, if you call them by their preferred pronoun and their preferred pronoun does not match their birth certificate, but you're acknowledging and accepting their existence the way they are, the law, attorneys, district attorneys, in their efforts to enforce the law and file appropriate actions against teachers who violate the law of acknowledging diversity and transgender, non-binary, like, we're really gonna, teachers? We're getting the Attorney General in because a teacher called somebody she that asked to be called she? Really? What is happening right now? Like, you guys, seriously? What planet is this? Why are we coming after teachers and school funding? Is this really about you think it's so icky, or you just really can't understand that somebody's transgender that you have to remove their protections and then defund the school, take money back from the school because the government clearly needs the school's money more than the schools need it. We have school teachers who are paying out of pocket for their own school supplies and decorations and things for the kids to have. We can't afford their own tissues. We have to bring in our own tissues and hand sanitizer and everything else. The teachers are constantly asking for us to help out and do things. They don't have any money. And I'm not blaming the teachers. It's not their fault. They are doing a public service to educate our youth. But now we're involving the law and cutting their budgets further because you don't understand gender. Like, I don't. Oh my God, you guys, how are we letting this happen? This is our kids' education, all because of... Am I alone here? Is this nuts? This is freaking nuts. Call your senators. Tell them this is nuts.